Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up, I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now, if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Well, hello everyone. Because I'm temp ban, I guess you could say, from Facebook, I don't really get to advertise these shows, so most of the people come over here from Facebook, so it's probably going to be a little lonely, but I see Dave Davis is here, so thank you. I guess I need to start encouraging people more to like and subscribe on YouTube. There's a button. It's on that, I think it's that side. It's the one that has the pink TV. If you hit that, you're subscribed. And you don't like it, whatever. I don't know all the mechanics. Subscribe, like, and hit the bell, right? That's what you're supposed to do, and that way you get notified, because almost all my stuff is live. And without the Boomer book, I'm lost, I guess. I'm going to do a show on why I'm temporarily banned from Facebook. Both of them are absolutely ridiculous. I'll tell you, this is how I got banned for 3 days. At least it's 3 days now. It was supposed to be 1 day, and then when I came back today, they added 3 days to it. The first one was for my hyperbole when I was in a lot of stomach pain, and I said, I literally want to disembowel myself. They took that as a suicide threat. Which is just funny in and of itself, because it's like, let's pretend it was, which it wasn't. So, you're threatening suicide. We're going to isolate you from all your friends and family. Good job, Facebook, but how ridiculous. The second one that I got today, their bot must be going through accounts. people are going, oh, somebody's mass reporting you. No, there's plenty of things that a person could mass report. This is things that are completely devoid of context, which makes me think it's a bot. So the one I got today was where I posted a screenshot of an email that was sent to National that was just the most misogynistic crap. So I was defending myself and other women from getting misogyny sent to them, and I got banned for 3 days because from context they can't tell if I'm calling out the misogyny or if I'm promoting it, and they just assume you're promoting it. It is really quite shitty, because the warning I got 2 months ago was for defending Jews against anti-Semitic slurs. But the bot can't tell from context whether you're promoting or defending. You know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous. And when you go to appeal, they basically say, we're spending too much time combating COVID misinformation to hear appeals. Why do we use this again? And now I'm like so invested. So I'm going to be, because you're still allowed to use Messenger, over the next few days, I'm going to be private messaging. I think, well, I'm going to start. I've got 5,000 people. It's a lot. Asking to subscribe to the YouTube page to hear about the lives. And also to clear out the dead weight and stuff. So, which I already did a little bit. There was a lot of old, when I say dead weight, I don't mean actual, like, people, like, I'm not calling people names. There's old accounts, like, people don't use anymore, and I just need to clear those out, because I always have a backlog of friend requests. But yeah, without being able to advertise this, I put it on Twitter, but people don't seem to pay much attention to, like, live stuff on Twitter. I don't know. I've got more followers on Twitter than Facebook, but different things do well. But what was I don't even know where I was going with this. I know we're going to history in a minute. Had a rough week. Whenever, like, the LNC stress gets me down, it takes me a while to bounce back. And I have to be honest, I'm not in a good place. Like, not in, like, a dangerous place or anything like that. I'm just not in a good place. And it's the usual beginning of the month Patreon attrition. You always have every creator has a few that cancels the beginning of the month, not because they don't like your content, but because life sucks and people's financial situation changes, and that's, like, so understandable, but it's kind of depressing at the same time. You can't, like, totally grateful for the amount of time anyone can help, but then you find yourself kind of in a makeup situation. So I think I figured I got to make up $27 to get back to where I was before. So where's my thing? This is a great sob story lead up. I'm totally not prepared for this. Let me put on my glasses. Where are we here? Yes. If you can help me make up the $27 a month, I would truly appreciate it. And here's what else is funny. I was trying to set up the Discord server today for the patrons, and I can't find my campaign, my secretary campaign Discord server. So I'm going to have to write all my volunteers to go help me find my own server. I'm such a boomer. I'm really not. Like, I just missed being a boomer, but I think I'm an honorary boomer. And also, whoops. Come on, why are you doing this to me? No, not that. There we go. The merch. All I got so far is the mud decorum things, but those shirts are badass. I got it right here. For anyone who hasn't seen it, even though you can't see the detail as well on here, because you can't see the Lady Liberty's got her middle finger raised here, but get your mud decorum t-shirts here. All right, and this I got from the thrift store. Isn't this great? It says, activities for children. Let's summon demons. I found this at Goodwill and I loved it. Okay. On sale too at Goodwill was the 30% off green tags. Let's go into the history. Before we do that though, let me close that. And what am I looking for? Oh, let me do the quick promo for one of my sponsors is Tale of Two Brothers. I've been really thinking about this book lately because I got a lot of people ass mad at me on my secretary page for saying that, you know, the people who are like in masks even when they're alone in the car are scared to live. That's how I see it. You're going to get ass mad over my opinion. Okay. Okay. I get told I'm killing grandma every day, and I don't get terribly ass mad about it, but it made me think of this book. It's a great book for the young people in your life. It's a children's book that gives the lesson of life being actually living your life, not living in fear. Because time will end up going faster and faster, and before you know it, you're going to have a lot of regrets, in my opinion. So I highly recommend that. You could go to Tale Two Brothers. The name of the book is Tale of Two Brothers, but the website is tale2brothers.com, and there's an Amazon link there, or you could just search directly on Amazon. Because I actually bought a copy. I gave my copy, my promo copy, to Mike Seebeck. I want to let him keep it as long as he'd like, so I bought another copy. That's how much I like it. You know, this is supposed to be something I'm making money for as a sponsor, but I just bought a copy because I like the book that much, and I'll end up giving it away. I end up giving books away. That's what I like doing. All right. Let me pull up, because I don't have it yet downloaded, what we're going to start going through, and it's fantastic, is the Libertarian Handbook 1972. I messed up last history podcast. I thought we were going to a new LP News issue, but we're not. That isn't till next month. We were on July, August. We're going to go to September, October, beginning of September. So no new LP News. It's going to be all bonus episodes this month. Most of it probably the Libertarian Handbook 1972. It is scanned and on Lpedia, but there is so much great stuff in here. And what's fantastic about this is this wasn't put out by the LP. And obviously for something to be for the year 72, it was probably put out in 71, and we're going to look at the cover. This really predates the LP. So this is like the soil from which the LP sprang. There was vibrant libertarian movements at the time of the LP. I think more so than now. You know, we have the think tanks now, we have the LP. But, you know, you have Freedom Fest and things like that, which is, it doesn't seem like there's so many grassroots libertarian organizations, small L libertarian organizations, as there was back when the LP started. And this thing is old, as you can tell. It's fallen apart. But let's look at when this was actually published. Usually when something is for 72, it would be published at the end of 71. But let's see if it even says in here. Well, it was copyright 72 by Avenue Victor Hugo. That's the publisher. Mark Frazier is the co-editor. Mark Frazier ended up being, Frazier with a Z, Mark C. Frazier, ended up being an early LP member, and one of his version of the Statement of Principles was one of the ones considered. And I think he was on, they called it the National Committee at the time, but the LNC, or they call it the Executive Committee. I think he was on it. So it just says copyright 72. It doesn't say what date it first came out, but I would bet you it was December. Either way, right when the LP was forming. But I'm just seeing here yet. Nope, I'm not going to keep looking through much more because we are going to be going through this together. But I didn't download it yet, so give me one sec because I'm going to pull up Lpedia. And actually, I'm probably going to share my screen because I realized I'm not instructing you guys enough on how to navigate Lpedia so that you can find these resources for yourself when you want to look at them when you're not on this broadcast. So let me share my screen. So here's Lpedia, which is lpedia.org. Do not go to lpedia.com. I want to see if that's still the Lost. Do you remember that show Lost? I think lpedia.com is a Lost wiki. Yeah. See, Lostpedia. when was the last? People are still posted on this thing. Well, there's one here in 2021, but looks like most of the posts were from 2017 and 2016. I'm surprised this still exists. And it used to be a wiki, but now it looks like a forum, lost PDF forums. Because it's funny, usually these things after the shows, they go away. I used to love, there was a blog. I used to be a big 24 fan, but you know, that's when I used to like lick the government boot. But I loved 24, and there was a blog I used to follow called the Jack Bauer Torture Report. And like that didn't stick around after 24 was not on the air. Why is Lostpedia still there? I want to get that domain so that people aren't getting confused. But anyway, it's lpedia.org. We use the same software as Wikipedia. So if you're familiar with navigating Wikipedia, you'll have no problems here. But let me pull up Libertarian. Was it 72? A Handbook 1972. Couldn't remember if the 72 was in the front. So here we go. It says you can read it here. So, but I want to download it. So I've downloaded it. And let me go back here. Why isn't here? I was going to say, why isn't this working? Okay. Let me find it on my desktop and we'll pull it up. And I'm not so sure how much we're going to go through. It depends on how long we linger, but I think there's a lot of great stuff in here. I'm just organizing this on my screen before I share it with you guys. Something's happening a little weird here. Oh, I still have that coup article up. Okay. I had Jonathan Jacobs on, was it last night? And he was talking about parliamentary coups, and it was pretty interesting. Okay. All right. Let me hit maximize. Is this maximize? Yes. All righty. And and there are people watching, but you guys are awful quiet. You know, I hate that so much because I like the participatory. All right, let me share my screen again and pull up that. Okay. So there's your cover. And I need to take a sip of soda, so just give me one sec. You can see this is a guide to the new anti-political movement. $2. And yeah, the LP was branded as an anti-political party. I think we are still that. And that artwork that's on the cover is the original Liber sign, which was pointing up to the upward right. That's the old version of like the Nolan chart, where the Libertarian quadrant, it was a square rather than a diamond. And the Libertarian, my lipstick's getting all weird. The Libertarian quadrant was in the upper right before. I'll figure out when he put it on its side. Yeah, my lipstick was getting all dry. But let's, whoops, went too fast. So here we go. Montessori books. There's a lot of ads in here. Robert Bentley Inc. Funny, the guy who owns the Libertarian Vindicator's name is Robert Bentley. He's a friend of mine. It's not the same guy, because that guy's the guy who's a friend of mine is a young guy. I doubt he was even born in 1972. But we're not going to linger on the ad, but let's look at this index here. What is libertarianism? I think this is the first time this handbook came out, which is why there's so many basic things in here. About the handbook, the lineup, variants of libertarianism, issues, 1972, McDonough's poem, a short history, tactics, 1972, strategy, and then there's listings of things. So libertarian enterprises, libertarian films, libertarian records, nonfiction, fiction, periodicals, organizations, past individuals, present individuals, and then some featured articles. One is Law, an Approach to Libertarian Jurisprudence by Robert P. Baker. The Libertarian Challenge by Jerome Tusil. Those of you familiar with LP history know that he ran for governor was it governor or mayor? No, governor a million times in New York. A prolific libertarian author, Jerome is. The Idea of a Libertarian Party by Michael Holmes. I believe this is Michael Holmes out of Texas that ended up producing a tabloid, newsprint periodical called American Libertarian. Of course, that name is somewhat common, but I'm pretty sure that's him. I'll write him and ask him. And The Mercenary Menace, also by Robert P. Baker. This book is dedicated to Ayn Rand, Robert Heinlein, Murray Rothbard, and the others who have fought to remove the shackles of politics from mankind. I love that. The shackles of politics, because it's freaking evil, man. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about this lineup. If there's something you would like me to cover first, say it in chat. Otherwise, we're going to go in order. Though I am super interested in, where is it at here? Tactics. I like reading about the 1972 tactics. But let's go on to the next thing. What is libertarianism? Let's see if we agree here. Yeah, libertarianism is freedom. You want to know what I want to do a show on? Actually, I've mentioned this on Facebook. I don't know how many of you guys watch Natalie Wynn, a trans woman who runs a show called ContraPoints and does these really heavily produced, like, avant-garde, high drama, like, it's art pieces, but they're long-form videos. I want to do some libertarian ones in that kind of style. Obviously, my style will be different from Natalie's. I'm much goofier. But I've already got some storyboard ideas. But to produce something like that takes a long time. And it actually takes a decent amount of money because there's a lot of set changes. You got to buy costumes and sets. Now, of course, a lot of that you can do on the cheap between Goodwill or you know where to look. But I'm really thinking of doing one. That's why we should look up ContraPoints. Makes a shit ton. This is my free association today. I'm just bouncing all over the place. I want to pull up what Natalie makes on Patreon. So we'll look up ContraPoints. It might not say. Oh my God. Look at this. Natalie has 13,308 patrons. Now I feel like a total loser. I've got 62 and I'm grateful for each and every one of them. And I'm like amazed I have 62. I can't imagine being that popular. Oh my God. And okay, she's got 5 levels. Very reasonable levels. The highest is 20. Doesn't say how much. Last I heard, Natalie was making like $10,000 a video, something to that extent. So, hey, I got a new pledge. Awesome. That makes me happy. So now I only need to make up $22 a month. Thank you, Michael Meehan. You're getting the live shout out. But yeah, Natalie is fantastic. But fair warning, I watch very few libertarian shows. Dave Smith, Tom Woods, that sort of thing. Most of the stuff I listen to is either from conservatives or liberals. Because why do I need to listen to things I agree with? Natalie Wynn is a leftist. Okay, so just fair warning when you go to watch it. You will not agree with everything, but the production value is excellent. Okay, so let's consider. Oh, so what I was saying here before I got off on this large tangent, and I'm like so happy. Thank you, Michael Meehan, again. You really made my night because I was really down today. Getting a new patron always lifts my spirit because it's like somebody believes in me. My husband's, we got to soundproof this room down here. He's doing the sync. He forgot I'm recording down here. But there's people who claim there's a difference between liberty and freedom. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, where they'd say libertarianism's about liberty and anarchism's about freedom. And I do think there is a slight difference between the two words, but the intersection of them. Thank you, Michael Meehan. And you're here, and you saw I discovered you sponsor. Thank you so much. You sponsored right when I was online, and you really did pick up my spirits. I was very down today. I super appreciate it. So, yeah, got distracted. Oh, so yeah, is there a difference between liberty and freedom? And in some sense there is, but in another sense there isn't. And let me tell you how I've heard it described to me. Liberty is not only being free of aggression, but actually being able to meaningfully exercise your liberty. For instance, some people use this argument quite a bit in, say, the abortion debate, where they'd say in states that don't have very many clinics, that while in theory the women in those states are free such that they have the right to have an abortion, they don't have the liberty to have one because of their financial means to travel out of state would be too restrictive or too expensive, whatever it might be, and there's only one in the state. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's like what people have said is the difference between liberty and freedom. But I think the two words, the intersection, is bigger than the difference. But I want to explore that, and that would be perfect for like a Natalie Wynn style video. Okay, I spent way too long in just those three words. Libertarianism is a philosophy of rational human action. I also think it's a philosophy of irrational, though. If you let people be free, some of them are going to be free, and thank you again, Mike, for the compliment, Michael, to be irrational. Libertarianism is an ideology directed towards the maximum freedom of the individual within the laws of reality. I love that. Because I know when people say, oh, anarchism is a pipe dream. I think minarchism is a bigger pipe dream. But, you know, I'm perfectly happy to say, let's see how close we can get. Because, you know, if wishes were fishes, we'd all cast nets. In other words, we have to obey with the laws of reality. And if in reality we can't get there, okay, but let's see how close we can get. Libertarianism is a concept of individual liberty. Absolutely. Libertarianism is the realization by an individual of his self and the rational needs for his own happiness. That's very Randian, but okay, yes. Libertarianism is a movement of individuals aware of the meaning of freedom and working to make that idea a reality. Yes, when you're talking about the movement. Libertarianism is an agreement with the principle that an individual is solely responsible for his own life. They misspelled pursue. Did nobody spell check this book? And he may pursue P-E-R instead of P-U-R. Unless that word used to be spelled differently, I don't know. The interest of his life as long as he denies to no other man the same right. Okay, I disagree with this. Okay, I don't ultimately disagree, but I think we've evolved. So for instance, I would word this differently. Libertarianism is agreement with a principle that an individual is solely responsible for his own life. That's not specific enough. Because this is where we get the selfish libertarian thing. Because it makes it sound like none of us feel like we could ever voluntarily feel responsible for somebody else. So this needs to be worded in a sense that the only enforceable responsibility you have, unless you signed a contract or something to the other effect, is your own life. But plenty of people feel a moral responsibility for the lives of others, even if it's just their family. And I think we're giving a very truncated view if we don't say that. And he may pursue the interests of his life so long as he denies to no other man that same right. Okay, I have a problem with this too, because what does denies mean? Does it mean just in your head? Or does it mean you actually take action to deny someone the other right? Because I don't believe in thought crime. Okay, libertarianism is the conceptual result of an individual's love for life. That's too artsy for me. Because I'm going to really... Yeah, Michael gave a good example. Let me put this up here. I gave the abortion example. Yeah, but Michael said you're free to purchase a firearm in Chicago. And I need to move me here. But there are no gun shops, so liberty is restricted. Yeah, in that sense, I do see a difference between liberty and freedom. But not in very many other senses. And I don't think that then is a division between minarchy and anarchy, but as some people have made it. I got to research it a bit more, though. So on this thing where libertarianism is a conceptual result of an individual's love for life. Okay, but libertarianism, I guess people could say this is ultimately a love for life, where libertarianism believes that you have the right to decide the time and means of the end of your life. You see what I'm saying? I'm not so. I think that's a bit too artsy-fartsy for me. Libertarianism is an understanding that free enterprise is the only economic system consistent with individual liberty. Yes and no. Here's my no. Cannot libertarianism embrace individuals voluntarily choosing to restrict their economic rights? Libertarianism is the knowledge that the coercion of an individual has no rightful place in human society. That one's the best one out of this list. That's the most meaningful one out of this list. I think it all boils down to that. Oh, the second one too. Libertarianism is a revolution against those institutions by men which attempt to dictate to the individual by force. Yes, that one's excellent too. Wow, check out this other one. I don't know what to think about this. Libertarianism belief that no individual is equal to another. Equal in what way? Are they meaning the same as another person? Okay, but don't we all have equality of natural rights? I would strike that. That's too, I don't know, this is confusing. I like the last one. Libertarianism is. Okay. Libertarianism is an appreciation of the beauty of the free and rational human being. I don't think you have to... Okay, that's too artsy-fartsy for me, too. There's only a few in here that I would include if I were going to be talking to somebody who wasn't a libertarian. About the handbook. This handbook has been designed for use by libertarians. I'm wondering if they did have the LP in mind, because I see the capital L, but I don't know if the capital L, small l made a difference back then yet. Because you notice man is capitalized here too. So they just might be capitalizing for emphasis. Let me see here. He goes on to say, they don't think that anybody would disagree with those statements on that other page about what is libertarianism. Dude, you vastly underestimate the oppositional defiance disorder of libertarians, to say you're going to make a bunch of statements that libertarians aren't going to disagree with. But I disagreed with a lot of them. I love this. This is so stridently libertarian. The editors recognize no right of any individual group to free space in the handbook to express opposing views. Get 'em, Tiger. Okay. Alrighty. I don't know who this Vincent McCaffrey is, but I do know Mark C. Frazier. Not personally. I'm not even sure if he's still alive. Alright, next page. Told you there's a lot here. Libertarians, a publication announcement. Ooh, Murray Rothbard. That dude wrote so much, I don't even understand it. Like how much he wrote. wow, check this out. He wrote something called Education, Free and Compulsory. I'm going to need to look for that. And it's from the Center for Economic Education. All right, the lineup. Okay, this, if you remember from the intro page, this is the different kinds of libertarians. So the intro paragraph, profound and often bitter differences, that's for sure, are found in the libertarian movement. And here are, at least this time, who they considered the groups. So the objectivists, those are followers of Ayn Rand. We're not going to read this whole thing. I want to try to pull out things that are, like good summaries. Objectivists assert that self-interest is man's single standard of morality and that self-fulfillment is the only moral aim in life. That's why I'm not an objectivist. I don't think politics encompasses the whole of morality. And that's why I think Ayn Rand was just generally not a pleasant person. Like the fact that she thought altruism was evil. Compulsory altruism, okay, but I won't get on board with that. Okay, so the objectivists. There's not very many objectivists left today. That movement got, I don't want to say it died with Ayn Rand, because there still are objectivists, but not like before. It effectively died. The anarchist libertarians. Yay, go team. I don't know if, he recognizes how varied they are. I was going to say, I don't even know if this would describe me, but let's see. Holding that a truly laissez-faire society is one in which no group of individuals may initiate force, and that a monopoly government can only maintain its status by forcibly squashing competition. I don't see how anyone could argue with that. I would love to have a really good discussion. You know, you guys, I don't divide over that whole thing. Like, listen, if we got to menarchy, I'd be happy. But I would really like a menarchist to talk with me. I'd like to hear a defense of how even a night watchman state is not initiating aggression by monopolizing rights defense. Because I don't think any state can exist without violating rights. Okay. Oh, interesting. They mentioned left-wing libertarians maintain that they're only interested in being allowed to live their own lifestyles on their own territory. So there's no reason for not calling them libertarians. That's why I was saying on that other page that couldn't people voluntarily choose a repressive economic system? Says they tend to be more radical, okay. Anarchist libertarians vehemently argue that stateless societies would be, they did not go, so go to the page to the right there, second paragraph. They really needed someone to proofread this. So check out that first sentence. Stateless societies would be peaceful societies. Dude, come on, people. I've already found 2 errors, and I'm not even, really, critically reading this. Okay. Of all the groups in the libertarian movement, the anarchist libertarians are growing the fastest. They also tend to be the most active in educational and political activities. And Ayn Rand did not like them. Okay. The conservative libertarians. So these would be the Goldwater Republicans and parts of the John Birch Society. And they numerically surpass all other variants. And I think that's probably still true. But I don't like this part. Most conservative libertarians believe taxation to be necessary to finance the police, army, and courts. They downplay the importance of philosophy while stressing religious justifications for libertarianism. I don't see that today, though. I know a lot of conservative libertarians that aren't religious. And it says most of the wealthy institutes belong to this category. Check this out. Maybe I fall in a different category here, but I don't think so because, for those of you who don't know, I'm a pacifist, but my pacifism has nothing to do with my politics and everything to do with my religion. But here's the autarkists. It says, are libertarian pacifists. They believe that force should never be used even to protect oneself from aggression. Well, I have voluntarily assumed that for myself. I don't impose that on other people. I don't think there's anything wrong inherently with using force. I've chosen not to. That's different. But I don't condemn other people who haven't made that choice. So I guess I wouldn't agree with this. It's the League of Non-Voters. Okay. Robert, I always pronounce his name wrong, Lefebvre would be one of these. Okay. The Retreatists. Escape. These are the, anarcho-primitivists. Okay, so here's some cool quotes on the bottom. If common folks should not be made to pay for uncommon schools, why should uncommon folks be made to pay for common schools? I don't know. That didn't do anything for me. Let's see the next one. Democracy has been defined as the principle that one man is as good as another, if not a little better. I like this. Anarchy may be defined as the principle that one government is as bad as another, if not a little worse. All right. Check this out. Profiteering with cars. So there's like these marketing, these get rich quick opportunities here. So they're promising how you can make, and it's from the Agora Fund, money selling cars. Alrighty. Issues in 1972. So what were the issues? New Deal liberalism is dying. I think you spoke too soon. New Deal liberalism definitely is not dying. It says education's one of the most promising targets for libertarians. Education right now is a sacred cow. Even the national party's too scared to say that we believe in the separation of school and state. And it talks here about interim measures such as vouchers. And I thought vouchers were a relatively new thing, but I guess not. I like where it's interesting what they said here. See, what I don't like about the vouchers, I mean, okay, I'm not opposed to them, but the emphasis we're placing on them today is hiding our real whatchamacallit, our real goal. And since everyone's being forced to pay for education, I could see how some people would say, it's abhorrent, though, to steal money from me, to give a voucher to somebody to send their child to a strictly religious school or a strictly atheist school or any number of things. It's just as abhorrent for the public school. I don't know. I feel very ambivalent about it. But I do see it introduces the element of competition. Okay, pollution. And that's another one where it's not a place where we can, this is another thing where we've fallen behind. It says libertarians should make themselves heard clearly and often on the point pollution is simply a problem of property rights. Prison reform. Okay, that is something we definitely can capitalize on today. We definitely need that. Well, all kinds of criminal justice reform. All right, transportation. Agreed. That's another one that I think we have a lot of opportunity on today. Where you've got, yeah, I'm not going to get into it a lot. I'm just doing big overviews. You guys can go on LPD to read these all in full. Communications. Now, back then they were talking about like telephone monopolies, but the internet would fall under there now. And oh my God, right there, welfare. But again, we're so cowardly today. All right. So those were the 1972 issues. And the thing is, I think all of those issues are issues today, aren't they? Just in different forms. So for instance, education, definitely. Pollution, that would now be global warming. Prison reform would probably be more police reform. Transportation, that would also fall somewhat under global warming, but also all these initiatives to subsidize, light rails and things like that. Communications, that's social media. And welfare, that's always a problem. So those issues are still today. I'm surprised war wasn't on there. This is before the Vietnam War was ended. Why wasn't war in this list? The Vietnam War ended in January 1973. This is the 1972. Why wasn't the draft mentioned? That's weird, don't you think? Okay, 209 libertarian books. Something you'll find. Yeah, I'm gonna put this up from Michael because you're expressing something that I feel too. Vouchers still drive money through the government system and subject it to corruption and manipulation. Another thing is, I don't want to make the government system better. I want to get rid of the government system. So I guess where my ambivalence is yeah, vouchers would be an improvement, but I think I'd rather the whole thing crash and burn than improve it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of weird. And I don't have kids either, but I am being stolen from to educate everyone else's kids. I deeply resent that, by the way. I'm really ass mad about that. All right, 209 libertarian books. So something you'll notice in these older libertarian publications is there was a vast underground almost networking to get these libertarian books out. Because, remember, there wasn't the internet. So this is how people exchanged information. I would have been happier than a pig in shit ordering all this stuff. So this is from a group called Libertarian Enterprises. Never heard of them before. But if you note down here at the bottom, on the left-hand side, that little coupon on the bottom there, you ordered these catalogs full of libertarian books. Oh, here's some more issues. Maybe war will be here. Maybe I spoke too soon. Monopolies, protected by the state. I don't know if that's still an issue today because it's not as obvious today, I don't think, though. But check out this other sentence. It says, but monopolies rising from the natural forces of the free market have provided a thornier problem for libertarians. I don't think that's a thornier problem at all. If they arise from the natural forces of the free market, I don't care. And it gives some examples here. No, it still doesn't mention the draft or the Vietnam War. We're going to go to the next page here. Okay, it mentions defense. And, okay. I don't think defense is a big issue for, I wouldn't put that in here. Because whether it's through the state or through an anarchist free market, defense is something we all agree that we need. I think it's more, our policemen of the worlding, which was an issue then. Medicine, oh my God, healthcare, so that's definitely an issue today. and psychology. I did that show on Eugenia Cooney and Baker acting people. Had a libertarian discussion of that. So that is still an issue today. I wouldn't call it psychology, I'd call it mental health, but that's still also an issue today. But I'm surprised that our Wars of Foreign Adventurism was not listed here. Madonna's Song by Rudyard Kipling. What is this? Who? I don't get it. Okay, let me see here. I'm not going to read this whole poem, but I don't... Oh. Ryan, no, the LP and the Libertarians in general were very much opposed to the Vietnam War. So I don't know about maybe the objectivists. Maybe that's it, Ryan. It could be that the objectivists weren't. And the libertarian movement back then was very objectivist heavy. I think you nailed it. I'm so used to what turned into the LP, you know, we're supporting people burning their draft cards and stuff. But this could be because the objective... Well, let's go back to that section in the front where it talked about the objectivists and see if it mentions the Vietnam War at all. I'm looking myself. No, but it did say that objectivists view radical critiques of foreign policy skeptically. Oh, check this out. Oh, this is why. You nailed it, Ryan. I'm going to go back to page 6. This page here. First paragraph towards the bottom. Objectivists also dismiss the idea of American imperialism. They see American foreign policy as justly resisting the spread of hostile tyrannist regimes. And few question the idea of giving American military aid to suppress wars mounted by tyrannist movements. That's it. And hello, Julian. Remember, the whole thing with Vietnam was allegedly to stop the spread of communism. So that could be it. That could be it. So patron only episodes. We're going through that book that's entitled January 1973, which is all about ending the Vietnam War. So I kind of got Vietnam on my brain right now. Okay, let's continue. A short history. Oh my God. This is like so freaking complicated. I'm not going through this whole thing. It's like going through like weird, like, I don't know. If you're going back to Anglo-Saxon and Aristotle and the Greeks, I know. I don't need that right now. I'm more interested in the history of American libertarianism. This is just getting a little too... Oh, but check this out, because I'm very fascinated by this. If you go to that second page there, it talks about the plague. People have no idea how influential the bubonic plague was and how it changed the course of human history so radically. And the printing press was, as it said, invented at that same time. I'm glad that they recognized that. Enough people don't know enough about that. But God, oh my God, this just drones on. I'm not going through this whole thing. If you're interested, you can find it at Alpedia. All right. Oh, and it only went up to 1700 because if you look at the editor's note there, it says it's going to continue it from 1700 to 1789. No. No, I'm not doing that. All right, introducing a unique magazine. Oh, so this is for Reason Magazine. Interesting. Okay. And here is more Agora Fund. check this. It's a mutual fund. Is there anything? And it mentions the course in financial liberation, profiteering with cars again. Today, this would be about profiteering with mining Bitcoin. All right, this is what I really wanted to get to, was tactics. And I think that's probably where we're going to end today and the next episode. The reason I didn't do this Friday, because I was temporarily banned from Facebook, and I thought I would be back, but, you know, I got my ban extended for 3 days. And without putting up Facebook notifications, people don't know I'm on, but because I got extended ban, that's why I did it anyway. All right, so we're going to end with the with tactics today. And it goes through to page 34. Well, there's also strategy. We're going to do tactics and strategy, because this is what I was really looking forward to. So I'm going to skim through it and pull out some ideas. This is more talking about how to grow. I thought it would be something a little different, but let's see. List all the libertarians possible in your area. So this is when you're trying to like grow a local group. Watch the letter. Check this out. Watch the letters to editors. You know how many times I've said that? Letter to editor columns, and take down the names and towns of people who write promising letters. Basically, they're telling you to stalk the letter to editor things. Write down license plate numbers of cars carrying pro freedom bumper stickers. I don't know. That seems a little creepy. Back then, because this was before, who was that actress? Because all this, you no longer can get this stuff publicly available by license plate numbers, find out where people live, because of that it is one of those laws. That actress who was on My Sister Sam, who got killed by that stalker, a lot of these laws changed because of some of these stalker killings. Okay. Yeah, this first page, that isn't giving me anything interesting. Not what I was looking for. It's talking about starting up a meeting. That isn't really what I thought this would be about. Get libertarian ads. We kind of went over this in the political action manual. So, I don't feel the need to do this again. This wasn't what I thought it would be. They're giving you, buying a typewriter. That's funny. All one needs is to make a possible, a poster is a little imagination. A typewriter, some transfer lettering. Oh, check this out. Okay. Page on the left, third paragraph down. You might want to set up a fake socialist party. And then next paragraph, demonstrations. What? This is kind of, check, what? Catapults which shoot dumplings at planes. I don't think that's such a good idea. No. But check, realistic facsimiles of parking tickets can be printed up and then put in the windshield of illegally parked bureaucrats' cars. Okay, I'm for that. Don't shoot dumplings at planes, though. Tax protests on April 15th. Okay. And prepare press releases. All right. Okay, I agree with everything but those dumplings. Radio and television talk shows. It's the last paragraph on that second page. We do not take advantage of this enough. Okay, so on the next page, there's some more quotes. Yeah, that first one is so 70s. Communism is a drag, man. I loved, okay, the 1, 2, 3, the fifth quote down. It is necessary to abolish completely, in principle and practice, everything which may be called political power. As long as political power exists, there will always be rulers and ruled, masters and slaves, exploiter and exploited. And I've learned that this week. The political power on the LNC is disgusting. And that's libertarians. How much more disgusting is it from people who aren't libertarians? Because one thing I don't doubt, everyone on the LNC is a libertarian. And look how badly they behaved. Okay, here's another one. The government consists of a gang of men, exactly like you and me. They have taken one with another, no special talent for the business of government. They have a talent for getting and holding office. Their principal device to that end is to search out groups who pant and pine. Ooh, I love that. Pant and pine. For something they can't get and promise to give it to them. 9 times out of 10, that promise is worth nothing. The 10th time, it's made good by looting A to satisfy B. Wow. This last sentence is powerful. I'm going to tweet this out under the LPCO. In other words, government is a broker in pillage, and every election is a sort of advance auction on the sale of stolen goods. Woof! That is good, isn't it? All right, let's go to the strategy now. Maybe that's more what I was looking for. I thought tactics would be strategy. That is so good, Ryan, isn't it? All right, so talking about hopeful signs. Okay, I don't need that background. I want actual strategy, people. This isn't any strategy. It's just like a rah-rah speech. That's not strategy. Okay. What is Equitarian Associates? Never heard of that. Okay. That is all we're going to do for today. It's been about an hour. I appreciate all of you, and thank you again, Michael, for becoming a patron. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. And I could tell you, some things I've got planned. I want to put it back on me. Okay. There's a phenomena. This isn't necessarily having to do with libertarianism. I do general philosophy a lot too. I've talked about this a lot. And I guess I might be the first inventor of this, at least labeling it. There's a problem with women in organizations like boards. Men have their own problems. You men can tell me what they are. But I've called it the Highlander syndrome, where certain insecure women, if they don't feel like, if there's a woman that's excelling over them, they just can't handle it. So it's like Highlander. There can be only one, and they will exist to chop the head off the other woman. Nearly any woman who's been in any kind of leadership position will tell you of this happening. And it's happening with me right now, with a Ms. Hogarth. Other women are quite secure and don't try to do that. But it seems to always happen. Now, men, tell me if there's even something similar with that with men. I'm a woman, so that's what I understand. And I've had that... Ryan, it's on Lpedia. I will end up linking it in the low bar. But if you go to lpedia.org, type in Libertarian Handbook 1972. This book is scanned up there. And that was on page... Hold on. 34. And you can get that. It's at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to do a show on fleshing out what I call the Highlander syndrome and my experiences with that. It's quite terrible. Women are ruthless with each other sometimes. And the men don't see it because women's power plays are much more subtle. So that's something I'm planning coming up. I'm also want to do a discussion now that it's the anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Is it the 9th is the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki. The 6th was of Hiroshima. So we're like right in the middle of it. And I'd like to have a discussion on that. I might do that tomorrow. But I think that's a worthy discussion to have. What made me think of it, Fee just put out a really simple article on it that I think people overcomplicate it. I do think the issue is very simple, actually. And if you just want my bottom line, we're going to flesh out, and I'd love people to argue with me, is I do believe absolutely that the United States was guilty of abominable war crimes in those acts. But I'd like to flesh that out a bit more. And I thought that before I embraced pacifism. So this has nothing to do with my pacifism, which again is a personal thing. I don't impose that on other people. But we've never had to answer for that. So that's also something I'm planning on doing. All right, that's going to be it for this evening. Just a couple reminders in the low bar. There is opportunities for support, one of which does not cost you a damn thing. It's if you use that Amazon affiliate link, which actually leads to the Anarchist Handbook, which you should buy if you don't have it, from Michael Malice. But even if you don't want to buy that, if you start your Amazon searches there and you buy qualifying, because it turns out it's not everything, it's qualifying products, that gets credited to my affiliate account, and it doesn't cost you a damn thing. Take some money out of Bezos' pocket. He already had enough money to fly a giant penis into space, so don't feel bad about it. And my Amazon wish list, if you'd like to buy something for my studio or books, whatever, all of that gets invested back into the show. So that is it for today. I hope you guys have an awesome night, and thank you so much for hanging out with me. Bye-bye.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in the business.